He didn't push start.
No, he didn't. Whoops.
That's why I don't do that.
Yeah, I got distracted there. Anyway, we're actually here now. So we met. Sam's gonna laugh. He when he was filming, they had missed the chunk of a game. Now we missed first. We hope the loss of the first 4.5 minutes of this quarter didn't ruin your viewing enjoyment.
Well, they didn't have any enjoyment because they weren't viewing it.
No.
So it didn't ruin it.
Didn't help it either.
No, it didn't help it, probably. You're right. No.
Sometimes the old broadcaster guy does do that. My apologies to all the fans out there. We are
That's
live
okay.
now.
I broadcast the volleyball game here, the whole 2/3 of the JV game. Actually, 3/4 of the JV game. Never had the audio on.
I've had one of those. Nice backdoor cut to Whitman, and he gets swallowed up by Hageman. They do give the foul. And actually, and Dwayne, we seem like we talk about this a lot. Hageman actually had really good position, but he put those arms straight out instead of straight up.
Yeah, that'll get you more times than not. If you don't keep them up, it's kind of like the big swat when you really swing at a ball trying to block it. You don't even have to make contact. You just swing at it like that, you're going to get foul called 9 times out of 10 just for the looks of it.
Whitman for number 2, missed the first, gets the second. And the Cyclones got to put on a little pressure. Hageman going right through him, right around Cordell. Kind of the teardrop floater, and then a pulling into counter, fight for the rebound.
Transition defense has not been stellar for the Cyclones to this point. They have not been able to get back and stop the transition layups, and that's really been the difference. Besides the 2 threes, that's been the difference in this game so far.
As the counter bounces it back to Copeland, into Cordell. Out to Whitman, Matt Whitman, 3. Didn't want to go, but fell in. Another sports corner 3. And the Cyclones lead 12-10. That's going to be really huge for postseason play. Got to get a secondary scorer going.
Yeah, the counter has been that at some points, obviously, this year for the Cyclones, but they need to have a consistent scorer, and they have not found that consistent second scorer, as you said. I guess it doesn't have to be the same person all the time. They just consistently need one, right?
Got to have one. Colton Herring into the ball game, scores that one. And no, it was not a red herring, but they work it up. The counter working. Having trouble. 1:50 left to go here, first quarter.
You're talking about red herring, maybe. Oh, nice. Well, it was a nice move till he kind of lost his balance. You saying red herring, that's an old statement. The young kids probably wouldn't even get what you're talking about, but when I went to get a drink from the 8th graders, they were down there asking LeBron or Jordan.
Oh, boy. Jordan.
I said, Jordan, no doubt. And they're like, oh, come on. I said, you guys can tell that you're young and don't understand what real basketball used to be like.
Exactly.
But it's the same thing. Those same kids wouldn't know what a red herring was.
Nope. And they would know that was a treble because it was, as Walters went bouncing in there.
You can't do that? You can't hop 3 times?
Yep. No hippity hop to the barber shop, and they don't know. You can't really say hippity hop to the sports clips.
Not anymore. Not in Macomb, anyway.
True. Copeland working it around there. Comes out to Whitman. Whitman been aggressive offensively, which, again, is what they need. Don't necessarily need him to make the shots, but you need them to respect it. And now cross quarter, and Ryan Clark late to the party, bats that one away. Copeland in the lane, goes up, and Pullen got the foul, and he asking the official, I think. Wasn't sure why he got it, but kind of the bump and the reach.
You got it because the official blew the whistle.
Well.
That's the thing, is that you can ask all you want to, but if they blow it, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just that's the thing today. Everybody wants to know what I did. Every time I didn't do anything. Yeah. I didn't do anything. The officials. Sometimes you just got to take it, right? Just say, okay, I'll take that one and try to somehow learn from it.
Well, and to be honest, with the young ladies that I coach, I always say there's 2 things you say to an official: yes, sir, no, sir. Or yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, depending if you have a female official. The Blue Bullets working out there, tried the lob. Unfortunately, Lambert was not quite tall enough for that one.
That was a line drive lob. That was the problem with that one. It didn't get much lob on it. It had a lot of speed.
Harshbarger going to come in for the Blue Bullets. Blue Bullets have been a pretty successful program here and there through the last, about 20, 25 years.
Yeah, they've struggled a lot this year, though, and trying to rebuild and new coach and some stuff like that. So, they're continuing to try to build that program back up, but they have not had the success that they have been used to this season. That's for darn sure.
And that one, Clark did a nice job taking that one to the hole. And I believe it's Stone King be his first. As Ryan Clark at the free throw line. And the Cyclones kind of on an upswing a little bit again. They had really struggled over about a 5-6 game stretch. Really, since Christmas, had struggled a little bit. Starting to maybe find their rhythm a little. Have beat some good teams on the way. Clark misses them both. Pulling.
Yeah, they've had their struggles, but they're, we talk about these kids, you got a 1,000-point scorer, but that 1,000-point scorer is still a sophomore, so they're still growing and learning, and they're still young. Even though they've got a lot of experience, they're still younger than the kids they're playing against, so it's still going to you're going to have those times, right? I don't think that they're probably out of the woods for that at least the rest of the year, which is at least one more game, but that will probably get better next year and continue to improve, I do believe.
And that's the end of the first quarter of play. 14-12, Cyclones lead here. Let's take this timeout on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH.
Coming in for whether it's OB or just your women's health can be a very scary, kind of daunting experience. So it's nice that we have this welcoming, state-of-the-art space to bring our patients into. I think the best part of my job is being able to take care of women and just make them feel empowered and know that we're here for them, that their problems are real, that their concerns are real, and we just want to give them the best care possible. Nothing makes me feel better than when my patients tell me this is the most comfortable they've ever felt at a women's health exam.
And back here as you look in on the Cyclone huddle, Coach Sam DeCounter and all the crew there, Ian Conkling talking to his Chargers, and they do not sub much. Again, they are pretty young. They will have a huge group of young men coming up next year that we saw those back at that sectional game. So that'll help a little bit. And they will start with Cam Melvin, Matt Whitman, Ryan Clark, Eli DeCounter, and Braden Copeland on the floor here. We'll get Knoxville for you here. It is Harshbarger out there dribbling the basketball across half court. Looking at either Poland or Herring in the high post. Trying to get Lambert on a back cut. Had the right thought. Just didn't lead him enough, D.
Yeah, you got to that's something we didn't see from them. We didn't see that play from them in the first quarter, I don't believe. And they tried to come out and get that play to work. And it was there. Probably going to see it again. But ideally, if you're Coach Conkling and the Cyclones, you don't let it work as well the next time.
And there they get a backdoor cut there, but the shot just a little short by Hageman. And off in the hands of Copeland, and Copeland will work it up here. Copeland holding on. Bounce down to counter on the near side. Gets the screen from Clark. Kind of looking out to Cordell, out to Copeland, and Hageman a little late. And Copeland's had a little trouble finding the range here tonight.
Yeah, the Cyclones, both teams really are not, other than the 2 3-pointers and the one from Whitman that bounced around and fell in. Shooting has not been a strong suit for either team really tonight, as in was the case there.
Yes. Well, and that's one of those things when you get toward the end of the season, everybody's running on fumes a little bit. And for the Cyclones, they had the Friday-Saturday game last week. I believe, did they have a game Tuesday? It's been a blur, but, back-to-back games here. And with a short bench, that makes a difference.
Yeah, they're still trying to get their kids reps, right? I think Coach Conkling and Coach DeCounter still want these kids to, they're less concerned about how far of a run they make this year in the playoffs. Well, obviously they want to make a run in the playoffs if they can, but they're more concerned about getting these kids reps, playing good teams, getting some wins, and things like that. So that's the reason why you see some teams. There's a nice pass into the lane. But as you see, some teams like West Prairie, who is trying to make up and schedule as many games down the stretch as they can, right, because they still want these kids to get those reps, whereas other teams tend to take a week off almost, at the end of the season.
And I don't know what philosophy works best. It just depends on your personnel. Clark down the lane, shot no good, hit the underside, got it back.
Does that count as a 2 rebounds since he hit the bottom of the rim with the second one?
Well, that might.
I mean, I'm not joking there. I mean, that's serious, right?
Well, yeah, it was. It was a legitimate shot attempt.
Yeah, it hit the rim, so.
Because that's actually, everybody says, well, you can't pass it to yourself. Now, that always is up to interpretation because you sort of can, but it's got to be a legitimate shot attempt, even if it airballs. Pullen's going to shoot it. Free throw is no good. 16-12 here.
Generally, you're going to have to see it hit the backboard of the rim before they give them that benefit of the doubt.
Or at least you have to be in a shooting motion. You can't just toss it up.
Yeah. More times than not, if you're in a shooting motion, though, you're not going to be able to catch an air ball. It's going to have to hit something.
And Pullen misses them both. 16-12. I said this has not been a little offensively challenged here between the two teams.
Their offense has been a little offensive. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, you beat me to it. That's the problem. Copeland out on the wing again. Firing it cross court to the counter. Has Clark. Couldn't get him. Goes to Cordell. Now Cordell to Clark. And a nice job there as Hageman. I think Clark might have got a hand in there.
I think he did. Nobody's arguing, so maybe I was seeing things, but that sure looked like Clark touched that last to me.
Into Whitman. Whitman holds and looks. I don't know where the coach went, but he went. I thought he went out in the concession stand. But Whitman, a nice drive. Boy, can't get it to go. And Clark puts another one up. I'm telling you, tough rim tonight for everybody.
Yeah, there's no home home court advantage with the rims tonight, at least not at this end of the floor. And both teams are kind of struggling shooting the ball.
Tried to lob again to Pullen. They're trying that kind of a backdoor cut off the high 1-4 set. And just not able to get it to go here. Herring goes out, is coming back in.
Thing is it's there. Mm-hmm. They're just not working the pass in, they're not following through and finishing it up. I mean, the look is there. The idea is there. It's right. They just aren't completing the task.
And that one, Hageman going to get called for going over on Clark. And this may be what they have to do, Ryan Clark, a little bully ball down there. And get something in. May have to play inside out instead of outside in.
Well, and that's one of the things. Clark isn't tall, but Clark can body up a guy. He's not a huge kid. He's not super tall, but he can body people up down low when he needs to, and he's shown the ability to do that from time to time. And this team in Knoxville kind of lends itself to being the kind of team that he can kind of bully around on the post, and he's taking advantage of that right now.
Copeland rebounds the missed free throw. Gives a look out to Cordell. Cordell holds and waits. Had to counter. They'd have been looking for him. Now get him. Over to Cordell. Swinging to Copeland. Copeland looks with 4.5 left. Drives in. And kind of had it knocked away. Gathered it back to Whitman. Throws it across court. Pullen says thanks for the gumball, Mickey. And then he lost it. That was one of those sports bloopers reels that you might see.
Cordell is the only starter, I believe, for West Prairie that's gotten a break, isn't he?
I think so far. And that one, a dive for it on the floor. Cordell able to scoop it up to Copeland. Copeland in the lane. He missed it, and Pullen with the rebound. He'll be fouled from behind.
Yeah, just not Copeland's just not able to get the ball. And you kind of look at this game, and you see the way these Cyclones are shooting, and it almost looks like exactly what you were talking about earlier. Maybe their legs they're a little tired. They've played a lot of basketball. I mean, I know you practice all the time, but practice is not like a game, right? And you get more breaks, and you work on things, and you talk in between, and you play this many games in a week and a half, and you get tired, even when you're a high school kid.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like maybe Copeland and some of these guys, And it was an emotional weekend for Copeland too. Obviously, got his 1,000th point on Saturday, and so these kids are probably tired. And you said it is the end of the season.
It's been cold. It's been a kind of a weird week off and on with not having school a day, and all that. Yeah, you throw all that together, and it really makes it difficult. I mean, we tend to make these guys stars and like that, but they're at the end of the day they're high school kids, and that's folks forget about that. And for some of these guys, you're just sophomores.
Yeah, well, most all of them are. I mean, for West Prairie, most all of them are sophomores except for Cordell, right?
Cordell and Clark.
Well, Clark, yeah, Clark's a junior, right?
Yep. But they are very young men, and there's been a lot of sickness in and out of the schools. This has been a long slog of a winter.
Yeah, there's Clark going to pick up a foul right there. But we also tend to, think, well, they're young kids. If they're sick, they'll get over it quick and they'll rebound and it won't affect them. Basketball is a sport that takes a lot out of you. You're running a lot, and having the flu or not feeling good affects you for a day or two afterwards.
It does. And a nice job there by Lambert. He threw it off the back quarter of Cordell, caught it, and that is a legal play, folks. Gets the foul.
I was in West Burlington watching junior high basketball, and they've got 3 kids on the junior high team that stand right in front of the player throwing a ball in with their back to them. That's how they defend it. I said I did hit them in the back of the head or bounce it off their head and take the ball.
Yep.
I've never seen anybody do that before.
No, that's not something I have either. Most times you want to face or at least 3/4 the inbounds. You see where it's going.
Well, and you don't want to get exactly what happened to Cordell that time, right? You don't want that to happen to you either.
And that one, Johnson going to pick up the foul, tried to slide in front of Eli to counter. Herring's going to check in. Braden Copeland will check back in as Ruger Olson had checked in for him. And Olson will go out.
That's a kid that I don't think's got much praise, Ruger Olson. He's given them some good minutes this year. He really has. He's not one of the group that, everybody looks at to be a huge provider, but he's given them some really good minutes at times.
Herring rebounds the Clark miss, and again, point-blank range miss. Lambert driving in as it batted away.
Did you see that swipe?
Yep. He was not happy with Eli to counter.
Yeah, there's a little swipe there. He's lucky he didn't get a call on that because that was pretty obvious, but no, they didn't either see it or notice it, one or the other.
And Brody Cordell gets one to roll home, and he's another guy the Cyclones need to get going. 21-14 lead. Herring out to Pullen. Pullen 3 won't stick. And out of there with it comes Braden Copeland. 2.5 left to go here, which has been a lightning fast first half, folks. Copeland, they left him open. There's a sports corner 3.
You leave him open enough times, he's going to make you pay.
And he had to screw drive that thing in there as it rattled in. 24-14, Cyclones' largest lead.
Be interesting to see where he ends up with points, won't it?
It will. They bring it in the lane now, working for Harshberger. He has it stolen. Clark in the lane, up, in, and/or good. Timeout called by Knoxville. The Cyclones putting on a little run here. Lead it by a score of 26-14. And, of course, we are TSSR Game Time Live. And
you're watching McDonough Telephone Cooperative coverage of Cyclone Sports, actually. I want to thank them for being the title sponsor of Cyclone Sports.
And as we reach the end, and I reach my end of the West Prairie end of things, I want to say, folks, and I'm going to embarrass him because he doesn't even know this is coming, but folks, you need to say a thank you to the guy right next to me for doing this. This is a lot of managing, a lot of coordinating of many different crews, many personalities, and getting things done. And I know I messaged him last week, the sectional game, said, hey, can we do it? And we got it. And I think you all deserve a huge round of applause for what you've done with this. It's a lot of fun, folks.
Well, I appreciate that. We couldn't do it without sponsors, obviously, but we couldn't do it without everybody. You talk about managing other people. We've got a bunch of different people helping us now, and we couldn't do it without those people, right? I mean, we've got students from Western helping us now. We've got John Burton's the one that he's graduating. He's been helping us since we started.
Yeah.
He was your first guy, right? I mean, He was your guy back in the day when we first started covering West Prairie in 2021, right?
Yep.
And he was a senior in high school, and he's helped us all the way through. He's grown so much, and we're going to miss him. I think I'm going to miss him helping as much as I would miss me helping.
Yeah.
Because he's been such a big part of this deal.
Herring driving one, putting it home, and the Blue Bullets cut it to 26-16. Yeah, it has been a lot of love here and a lot of fun, and watching not only these kids playing ball grow, watching guys like John grow, Kenny, all those guys. Matt Whitman, nice drive in there. Clark had the rebound, gets bumped from behind.
Did you see Clark? Clark, he pointed the wrong direction initially, the official did, and Clark's like, what did I do? I was in front of him. But he called it right. He just pointed the wrong way. And I've officiated some. I don't know how that doesn't happen a whole lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just.
Well, there's so many, and the folks at home sit there and badmouth officials and folks in the gym and that. This is happening in real time, and let me tell you, it is hard to see some of that stuff.
I do a lot of racing stuff, and when I'm officiating racing, everybody comes to me and says, well, my car did this and my car did that. It's easy to see what happens to your kid because you're only watching your kid.
Yeah. And
you're also kind of skewed to believe that everything that happens wasn't your kid's fault.
Exactly.
Oh,
no.
And it's never the car's fault or the driver's fault. It's always somebody else's fault, and it's a lot easier to see what happens to your kid when you're only watching your kid or your car or your football player. It doesn't matter what sport, right?
Exactly. Well, and I say that's, another perspective here. This is what's fun. Sometimes, like last night, Greg has to take a break to watch his own daughter because as a coach and as a broadcaster, there's a lot of things you can't see because you're seeing, you can't focus on your own kid and that. And it is hard because we're taught to see the whole thing, not just one part. And a nice drive, yes! And it counts by Eli the counter.
A little NBA continuation there. And this game has kind of opened up a bunch from what it was early, Thanks a large part to Clark, this game is the Cyclones have been able to take control. He got some offensive rebounds and some putbacks down in the post and just kept them going until some guys opened up from the outside, and now they've kind of got the ball, for lack of a better term, got the ball rolling a little bit here.
37 seconds left in this first half to counter free throw, a little short. There he is again, Clark fighting his way in. Nice dump down to Copeland.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
And folks laugh at me saying it, but that's a Ryan Clark play. That's all I'll say that. 32-17, leads 15. Thinking about pulling it, slides around to counter, puts it up and in.
That's the thing that I think people miss. They see Copeland scoring all these points, but there's a couple guys on this team, being Clark and to counter, as there's a steal.
And a chase down block by Copeland.
Never giving up on a play. But the counter and Clark are really good about taking the ball and finding Copeland. Once people come to them, they find him a lot, just like that instance, wide open.
Yep. And he sees so much, too. That's one of the things I really like. I've talked about as Pullen throws it at the buzzer, that is incomplete.
For as quick of a shot as that was,
wasn't a bad shot.
That was a really good attempt because he had no time to really catch that ball and shoot it. He just got it on the tips of his fingers and pushed it to the rim, and that was a really good attempt for what he had to work with there.
Well, we're going to step aside here. I know Dwayne had a chance to talk to some of the folks from MDH, another one of our big sponsors. Want to say thank you to them, so we'll step aside for just a little bit. It is halftime, third quarter on the way in just a little bit. This is TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH.
And welcome back. I'm here with Emily Alden now. And Emily, patient advocate, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
That
sounds like a title that encompasses a whole lot. Let's first put it in simple words if you can, and then we'll kind of go in depth a little bit.
Yes, as the patient advocate, there is a lot to do in the role, but it's a fantastic opportunity. So generally speaking, I will help patients. I will talk about the service that they have here and just in general measure the patient experience for the entire organization.
Well, speaking of knowing the entire organization, kind of the theme has been everybody knows everybody at MDH because you're a smaller rural hospital, even though MDH offers a lot. You literally have to probably know everybody or most everybody because you need to know what each thing's going to happen if that patient's dealing with it.
Yes, that's very true. When I first stepped into the role about a year ago, it was really an interesting and fantastic opportunity to get to know all of the departments, how they work together and individually, and just to see the well-oiled machine.
Well, patient care, obviously, at a hospital is key. You're a key part of that. What is it about patient care at MDH that makes MDH special?
Service excellence internally to provide the best patient care is top of mind here for all of our staff across every single level, every single department, and the organization as a whole. It's a big focus. So we make sure that we take care of our patients and that they have the best experience possible. We're very open to feedback. We always want to improve in areas that we can improve. So we always have open ears. We always appreciate the feedback that we receive.
You are working with all departments. And when a patient comes in, let's say they come into the ER and then they come to ICU and then they go to the floor, your job kind of is to let the patients know what you can do, right? Or what you offer, or what they can do. Am I missing that? Is that correct?
Yes, actually, our case management department is instrumental with that side of things. Every once in a while, I'll step in and just check in on patients, see how their experience overall is going, to collect that feedback and see if we can implement any changes to make it even better.
So you deal with patients in so many different departments, and really they can go all the way from getting here in the ER to physical therapy on the way out, right?
Yes, absolutely. So MDH has a lot to offer our patients. So while you're here, if you're just running in for some outpatient tests, whether it's lab work or visiting our radiology department, convenience clinic, visiting your primary care provider over at MDH Family Clinic, emergency room, labor and delivery, there's so many different departments that work so well together, and our team is a family. The organization in itself is a family. And so everybody does a great job at trying to understand what departments do that aren't their own, so that way we can make it a seamless experience for our patients.
Well, and then as a patient advocate, right, you just kind of all that together and look at it, right, and then see as patient A comes through, what can we do to make patient B, who might follow them, a little bit better next time?
Absolutely.
So as you do that, what kind of things do you look for? I mean, what I would imagine with MDH as it continues to improve, you start looking for smaller things, right? So the obvious things are maybe gone. So then you start looking at little things to make the sometimes the worst experience of their life, right, a little bit better as they work through.
Yes, most definitely. So you never know what kind of day somebody's having when they walk through our doors, and you don't know what they're necessarily here for. So it's important to keep an open mind and take a look at what can we ask them that's specific to their experience. Why are they here? Comfort them and make sure that we ask the right questions so that we can purposefully pull out information that we can work on.
Yeah, and I think we've talked a lot about different things from different people. You're, besides Bill, the CEO, you're the one person that kind of helps with, like, it gets your hands in a little bit of everything as far as the patient is concerned. Everybody's talked about it being a family, and you've even mentioned it being a family. Does the fact that everybody knows everybody as far as employees, from the CEO down to the CNAs, does that kind of make your job a little bit easier?
Absolutely. When you're a family, you care about each other, and we are all here for one purpose, and that is to provide the best experience for our patients that we possibly can. So when you are a tight-knit family, it's just great to be, we're a community, a family, a community, and we are here to serve our patients. And when everybody has that one purpose, it's a great feeling.
Well, Emily, I appreciate you stopping and talking to us, and keep fighting for the patients.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
We'll be back after this.
McDonough District Hospital provided such quality health care for us. As we delivered our first child, it was a no-brainer for us to come back for the delivery of our second, and we're very excited to have such a great staff that will be here for us. We could have walked in with the clothes on our back and they would have had everything that we need, which I think is very important for the community.
The facilities are fantastic, state of the art, just put us at ease knowing that anything that she needed we were going to be able to get, and we couldn't ask for anything more.
The Tumble Fresh option keeps clothes in the washer fresh with periodic tumbling until they're ready for the dryer. Finish laundry in under an hour with a 25-minute quick wash and 30-minute timed dry in the matching dryer. Whirlpool. Everyday care.
It's hard to stop a train.
My experience with McDonough District Hospital was amazing. I have a lot of allergies, complicated by nasal problems. And the procedure I had is Vive Air. Dr. Sparks was incredible.
The Vive Air procedure is a radiofrequency ablation procedure. She no longer has to do any medications to breathe, so she gets much more restful night's sleep. And a short little office procedure, and have somebody that feels like it's totally changed their life means the world.
It's a permanent improvement on the quality of your life.
At Western Illinois University, leathernecks don't just blend in. Our purple stands out. Our students are innovative, creative, and resilient. At WIU, there's limitless potential, with campuses in Macomb, the Quad Cities, and online. Visit wiu.edu/potential to become a leatherneck and get an education that stands out.
And welcome back as we are here for the second half of this Knoxville Blue Bullets and West Prairie Cyclones contest. I'm Dwayne Hulett. You are watching McDonough Telephone Cooperative coverage of Cyclone Sports on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. Greg Phelps is back with me now, and 32-19 the score. And we've got 16 more minutes of basketball left. And
I was talking to one Mr. Jeff Copeland, of course, junior high boys head basketball coach, but we were talking about summer ball. And, of course, folks, summer ball, that's coming up, so be on the lookout for all the sign-ups. And I know usually McDonough Telephone, one of our big sponsors.
Summer baseball is what you're talking about,
Summer
right?
ball, period. Yeah. Softball, baseball, t-ball.
But not basketball.
No. Nope. That's the old sweaty guy in the gym that works people out, which is me. It is Whitman to counter, Cordell, Clark, and Copeland. Nice feed by Eli to counter, and a good way to get the second half started for the Cyclones. As they make it 34-19, open it up, and a steal. Whitman on the way, driving in. Nice job. Now, kids at home that are watching, did you notice how Lambert didn't leap toward him? He waited, and went straight up. That is the perfect way to do that on a layup.
Yep, let him come to you and wait for the ball to get to you, because you can get higher than him. That's the idea of it, right?
Yep. Cordell spins in the lane, tried to kick out to Whitman.
Heads up, Coach.
Off the head of Ian Conkling. I thought maybe he'd do a header or something.
He's
not a soccer coach.
He's like, dude, what'd I do to you? Coach Conkling there. Get a good view of Coach Conklin as he walks the sidelines here.
And he has done a fantastic job here, stepping in, raising the level of play here. As they work it out to Stone King. Stone King up top, works for Walters. Tried to go for Pullen's. Nice catch. Had to stretch to get that to Hageman. Looking at Lambert down low. And the Cyclones in kind of a 3-2. They'll alternate between a 2-3, 3-2, 1-2-2, whatever you want to call it. As Pullen gets in there, throws it away. Copeland on the run, in the lane, up, yes, and it counts.
The block didn't work that time.
No. You have to be a little bit taller than them. That helps a little.
Yeah, the added height helps some, right?
It does. Trust me, from one who's short. Me blocking shots is not a good thing. Lead is up to 36-19.
So you're saying when you were in the post, you weren't trying to block shots?
Nope, I was just trying to muscle them out. That's about all I could handle.
Use the body and hope they don't call the foul on you.
There you go. The counter, a nice rebound there. He's going to lead a fast break. Has a 3-on-2 if he pushes it up. Ooh, and just kind of, maybe that was a little bit of a message from the first half.
He might have been watching Four Nations last night and watching a little hockey with the hip check right there.
There you go. They've upped it to 19 now. 6:20 mark here in the third quarter of play. Pulling in the corner. Working it around here. Almost doing kind of a clear out there. Trying to load Lambert in the post. To Stone King. He'll put up the three well over the mark. And Pullen able to grab it down.
Pulled it right away from Cordell.
Walters to Hageman. Hageman bouncing in. Trying to work his way. And a jump ball called. And Hageman's got to be a little careful.
He's like, how's that not a foul? That's what he looked at instantly.
And Lambert, I believe talking to official Nick Knowles, maybe
yeah,
about a
saying
little.
Elbow down there, sir.
Hageman holding on there. He'll bring it out top to Walters. Walters waiting and looking. Now feeds it into Lambert. Lambert has it taken away by DeCounter, and they'll go back the other way. Copeland quickly up to Clark, and Clark was running before he had a hold of the ball.
Yeah, you say receivers try to run before they catch it, and that's pretty much what Clark did right there, wasn't it?
And Knox.
You're a wrestling fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Did you see Conklin was doing the hands in for like the John Cena "you can't see me" thing? Yeah.
Well, maybe that was what the problem was. You can't see me, and
the ball was saying that to Clark, maybe right there.
There it could have been.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I just thought.
But
it was funny.
It was a good push up the court there. Yeah, I didn't see that part, but that the funny moments we will see out here.
I don't know if that's what he was talking about, but he did the whole. And I'm not even a wrestling fan. I just know John Cena does that.
And I thought at first J.C. Reynoso was going to bring the ball in, but Keegan Steinkamp's letting Lambert bring it in.
But she could have done it.
J.C. and Aubrey right there on the baseline. And another steal, and, well, nobody came and got it. Herring picked it up. And the Cyclones have pressured a little bit. Now, they don't really have a deep enough bench to do that full game, but you will see them break that out from time to time. Lambert, nice fake, driving the lane, loops it up and in.
Yeah, that was a nice pump fake. That's the problem when that's the one weakness, right, of a 3-2 is the baseline guys have to cover a lot of ground, and a pump fake will eat those guys up because they tend to be the guys that want to try to block shots.
Yep. And you have got to have people that can move their feet. Copeland in the lane, nearly lost it to Cordell. The counter, a fake. Probes a little bit to Clark to Whitman. Matt Whitman puts it up and a little long. Walters the board. And they'll fire it right up to Lambert. Lambert tried to get the Tootsies in the order. Couldn't do it. And comes out to Walters now. In the lane to Lambert again, double team.
He's in there a long time. They're going to call a foul, but.
I am guessing the smoke did not affect the officials' calls. Smoke from the campfire, I mean.
Yeah, I think the marshmallow was just about to catch on fire. Wasn't quite there yet.
Hageman to Walters. Walters over to Stone King, gives a look. Now comes into Herring. Herring looking, comes to Lambert in the corner. He'll go in, cross court it to Walters. Walters, quick three setup, good. Sports corner three for the Blue Bullets.
It's a 5-0 run. They had it to 19. It's down to 14 now. Couple baskets by Lambert there. That was Lambert on that three, right?
Yep. And a nice find by Eli to counter to find Copeland on the back cut.
That goes back to what we were talking about in the first half, right, with Clark and the counter doing such a good job of finding Copeland and giving him good opportunities, and that was one of those examples right there.
And you can tell some young men that have played together for a long, long time. Walters, long three, no good. Rebound tipped, and Copeland's got a 2-on-1 if he pushes it. Nice job by Herring to come back, and Copeland will be at the free throw line.
If you're a pool player, he tried to put some English on that to try to get it to stay on the backboard. He knew he was going to have to lay it up hard. He tried to put some English on it. You can tell when it hit the rim, it had the spin. It just didn't quite have enough to fall in.
Free throw, a little short.
And that's where we talked about earlier, maybe the legs a little tired for these guys because you don't see Copeland leave a free throw short like that very often.
Second one misses it. Lambert snaps up the board, and he'll go the other way. 3.5 left to go here in this third quarter of play, and threw it right off his teammate. Up quickly to Copeland on a bounce. Reverse is no good, and Lambert out of there with it. Now the Cyclones will have, and they're going to whistle Copeland a foul. Cyclones will have their stretches where they have difficulty scoring. That's one thing just I've noticed this year is they will have their moments. And now Lambert working it up there on Copeland. That's just his second. As they work it out in the hands of Harshberger, he has it stolen away. Copeland in the lane, up and in and good. And Knoxville will talk it over. So
no, it's actually going to be West Prairie take the timeout.
And
Coach Conkling wanted the 30-second timeout.
And you know what he may be doing? Maybe putting a couple different things in, or just giving his group. Timeouts can not only be a strategy, they can be a little bit of a break. And you see the...
they actually took a full, excuse me.
And actually wanting to change things up a little bit. I wonder if we'll look if they are changing up the defense.
Yeah, they've been pressing a little bit, and like you said, they don't tend to do that for long periods of time, so he may be coming back falling back into the 2-3 a little bit, or maybe try to do a half-court trap or, something that they haven't used much this year that they want to try in the regional game on Monday night.
Yep, and have to go to Rushville. And, folks, if you didn't know, anymore the way the regionals work, the quarterfinal round is at the higher seeds site. They did that to cut down a little bit on the travel.
So only one team has to travel instead of two.
And I thought it mentioned it over the weekend, the West Prairie Lady Cyclones played Payson here and then had to go to Payson when they beat them. So it made the trip anyway, but saved them 2 trips. And now you see the Cyclones extending that zone a little bit. As Hageman comes down to Lambert. Lambert's shot no good. Rebound fought for.
Ruger Olson was on his bottom and had a hand on that and nearly got the rebound.
And nice feed by Copeland up to Clark, in and good. That was a beauty, 3/4 court pass.
Largest lead of the game at 20 now. After I said they'd cut it to 14, it's 6 straight for the Cyclones.
Harshberger down to Herring, Herring above his head, and Olson all over him out in that corner. Down to Hageman, Hageman trying to wheel on to counter, out to Stone King. He'll pump the 3, hard off the back of the rim. And Copeland with it now. Come up here to the counter. And Eli DeCounter has a little pick and pop in his game.
It's a travel.
Yep, and they'll get it away. Hageman dribbling up on Olson, lays it up, lays it in. And the Blue Bullets are going to apply a little pressure.
Well, they acted like they were going to anyway.
Because you remember, as I like to have musical interlude, all you need is pressure. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. BJ would have liked that. Lambert down to Herring.
And another foul on the Cyclones. 1:27 to go. And trio of subs, 2 of the blue jersey variety and 1 of the white jersey variety coming in.
Walters back, as is Pullen, Harshberger, and Hageman going, well, somebody else slipped out, and I didn't. Oh, Herring slipped out.
Cordell in, and Olson took a seat for the Cyclones.
And Matt Whitman, a nice job trying to pull it away, and he slid down, but just trying to get.
I apologize. I was watching instead of filming.
Oops.
My bad, folks.
Well, this is why you and I don't film normally.
Yeah, that is for certain, so I apologize. In my defense, I did just drive back from Florida, so.
That is true. I
literally just got into town and found out that they had the game tonight. And Greg was nice enough to do the game with me, so I said, if you'll come do the game, I'll run the camera and
we'll get her on the air. And I didn't mind. I was going to probably prop my old feet up on the couch and sit. As Whitman, a 15-footer, rolls off no good. Actually was getting prepared tomorrow. The 8th grade Lady Cyclones heading to Quincy tomorrow. Big tournament down there. Central, Unity, Quincy. And Jacksonville usually is in there, or in my mind right. The counter with a run up to Clark. Right back to the counter, but a little bit low off his feet. But I know Jacksonville is usually in there. La Hart, Dallas City, maybe. Don't quote me on that.
There's we've talked at length, I think, about how maybe high school basketball isn't as good in the area this year, and maybe high school volleyball in some cases was down a little bit, but it seems like there's some pretty good junior high volleyball teams this spring, or if you want to call it spring, winter. And there's some pretty good junior high basketball teams, both girls and boys.
And we've seen a couple of them here as a nice loop in by Hageman.
And a steal on the inbound. That's Lambert, but he can't get it to finish.
And that's the end of the third quarter play. And might as well elaborate that point. You have the Central Panthers, who went and I believe got fourth. The Southeastern Suns went. They got fourth. West Prairie, an epic showdown that you folks saw here at Colchester. They're going to be up a little bit. I know volleyball-wise, West Prairie putting some things together. Very, very, very young, putting some things together. And then you've got some decent teams. La Hart, Dallas City's not bad. Basketball-wise, girls basketball very good.
Yeah, they're state champions, weren't they?
Yep, and they're young too. They'll have a couple more years. And of course, the Carthage Blue Girls were champs as well, 8th grade champs. So you'll feed all of that into Illini West.
Which is a lot of girls who've got a lot of playing time are going to lose some playing time, but they should be really good.
Yep, and numbers should be up. And my good buddy and colleague, Mr. Keith Yex, he'll have a close eye on that, both via newspaper and via the internet.
And the radio.
Yep. As Clark with it. I believe he's got the call on Central Southeastern tonight. I was going to check on a little bit of that. I got you. And the counter draws the foul on Lambert. But I think there's going to be an upswing around here. It seemed like there's a lot. I can't say enough about the program that Jeff Copeland's built here in the junior high stages. As the counter gets the inbound, Stone King, nice defense. Give him a little bump, got it out of there, and here they'll come back the other way in the hands of Lambert. Down to Walters, he'll miss it, and the rebound snapped up by Whitman, up to Copeland, in and good. And that ups it back out to 18. Cyclones with a pretty consistent 18 so far. Walters going to put the three up. Little long. And Hageman the rebound. He'll come to Pullen in the corner. He'll pull it and get it.
He's been a bright spot for Knoxville this evening, that's for sure. He's shot the ball relatively well. In a game that, as we talked about in the first half especially, there's Copeland for three, and he nailed a deep sports corner three from the right wing, and that's his second of the night, I believe, and he's kind of starting to feel it a little bit now, Greg.
And we said he was having a little trouble shooting in the first half. You look on the scoreboard, and he's got 20. Walters tried the nice dipsy-do, but couldn't get it. Hageman back with it over to Walters. He'll pump up another three. Get it. So all of a sudden we have this offensive explosion. And it is now back to a 15-point lead as the Blue Bullets try to fight their way back in. We thought the Cyclones were throwing the knockout punch.
The Blue Bullets have responded to everything. There's the counter with a bucket down low, but the Blue Bullets have, a team that's struggled this year and is trying to improve and rebuild their program a little bit. They've responded well tonight.
Hageman with it. I think NASA tracked that one down.
Yeah, a little floater that had a lot of height on it.
So still at 15. 6 minutes left with the three ball. You can make a run at this.
As we used to say back in the day, that one would have brought some rain, wouldn't it?
It would have. Down to the counter. Eli to counter looking, bouncing out to Cordell. Brody Cordell spins it out of there. Cyclones can be patient. Matt Whitman holds it. Stone King jumps center. I thought for a minute Matt might light that up.
Probably good not to, though. That's not the shot you want necessarily. Run some time off here and take an easy bucket. That's what you're looking for, right? Obviously, you don't want a turnover, but you want to get the easy bucket if you can get it.
And
somebody cutting to the basket.
Yep, and got pulling with the personal foul.
So you run 45 seconds off the clock there, Greg, and you get the foul called, right?
Yep, and with 5:24 left, the time run out. If you're in Knoxville, you got to have that ball back. You have to, some way, somehow, you have to get that ball out of there.
Second foul on Knoxville here in a quarter, so they still have 2 more fouls to give before they can even force free throws from the Cyclones. Copeland will take a three. He's feeling it, and he's short on that one.
And Lambert will pull it down. Whitman tried to climb the stairs and get up there with him, but couldn't get it. And down it comes to Herring. Herring up to in the lane to Stone King from Lambert. Back to Herring. Nice bounce down for Hageman. His shot good again.
Whitman's one of those kids that is so athletic, and if he had 3 or 4 more inches, he would just dominate on a basketball floor. He does a pretty darn good job anyway. And there's a nice look into Cordell.
And he puts it back up to a 15-point advantage. Seem to be maintaining that pretty comfortably.
Yeah, but then Knoxville just will not go away. They answer. The Cyclones are going a little run, and then they answer back, and they just continue to work hard. And there's a 3 up top off, no good again. There's another offensive rebound. This is the second offensive rebound for the Blue Bullets in this. And another one up top. That one's short off front iron.
And Hageman trying to save it in. Did, but unfortunately to Matt Whitman. Up to Copeland. He'll lay it in and good. And Dwayne, I was looking it up. You wondered why I seemed just a tiny touch distracted. Something you asked earlier. I was looking at the
down low, another bucket for Knoxville.
I was looking at the IHSA webpage.
That's Stone King.
And guess what regional that the Cyclones are at? Bushnell.
So we will have, if they win on Monday, we'll have that game.
Copeland trying to go. Ooh! As Walters came down on him.
Needed a saddle on that one.
And that's one of those that Coach Ian Conklin does not want to see. Especially in a game where you're up 15 with about 3.5 left to go.
Now you wonder why he's not shooting. They called that after the shot.
And I'll go over that real quick here. Bushnell-Prairie City is at Illini Bluffs at 6:30 Monday. Let's see. Southeastern's at North Fulton at 7. And Camp Point is Central is at Delavan. Whew, that's a trip. And then West Prairie is at Rushville Industry.
That's a pretty spread out regional, really.
You go from down to Camp Point and go. Whitman with a nice steal after Hageman had a nice steal. And then Copeland puts it up and in. And ups it to a 17-point lead. Now, yeah. And then that will play. Where will the sectional go? That is, he's trying to find it. Brimfield is the sectional. They will play at West Central. A lot of our
Who's at West Central? We'll be covering that one as well.
It is Biggsville, West Central. First round's West Central at Princeville. Woodhall Alwood at United, also Stark County at A-Town, and Oneida Rova is at Elmwood. And then from there, the winners game 1 and 2 on Wednesday, and then Friday, and those two will match square off in the Brimfield sectional. And now all ahead of the Jacksonville Bowl Super Section.
You know, somebody pointed something out, and then I had thought about it a little bit in volleyball because they do the same thing. IHSA seeds the sectional complex, and then when you go to the sectional, you don't play the other half of your sectional. You play one half of the other sectional complex. And everybody's like, why do you bother seeding the sectional complex if you're not going to play the whole, if you're not going to play that other half of that sectional complex when you get to the sectional?
Exactly. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
There's a jump ball, by the way.
But two terms that don't normally go together, the IHSA and sense.
Common.
Yes.
They have sense. It's just not necessarily common.
And
rattled that one around and through.
It is Friday, so the banks are still open for Walters. And it's down to 14 with 3 minutes left. Copeland quickly up.
We give a hard time. There's Copeland for 3 again. We give a hard time to the IHSA. While not everything they do is perfect, obviously, there's a lot going on in high school sports in Illinois.
And Walters throws that one away. Matt Whitman with a quick eye up as we go down to about 2:40 left to go in this ball game. And they're going to give Matt Whitman a push as Lambert was kind of in his grill.
Yeah, that was a lot of contact that wasn't called, and Whitman kind of took it upon himself to kind of
another musical reference, keep them separated.
Yep.
See, you learn when you're with me. Educate and entertain.
Pressure.
Educate and entertain. Herring with it in the corner. Cordell jumping at him, drives around, puts it up, puts it in, and good.
I think Coach wanted him to do that quicker, and he kind of hesitated on the fake and the drive. He faked and then didn't drive, but then he ended up getting the drive anyway.
So it is right now 59-45. The lead's still 14 as we get ready to head under 2 minutes. And that is just the third on Knoxville if they're going to go some intentional, unintentional fouling. Or fouling with intent is what we'll call it. Matt Whitman coming across the timeline, tried to get it down to Copeland. It'll stay with them as the Blue Bullets knocking it out. And coming over to DeCounter. DeCounter will take a bounce, come out to Copeland. Copeland over to Clark. Time is their friend. And now Olson working on Lambert, drives in and draws the foul.
A lot of hand checking there. It looked like, in all honesty, that Knoxville was trying to get that foul, and they just weren't calling it.
And
like, we're going to want some more seconds to run off here before we give you that foul.
And that is the fifth on the team. As Ruger Olson at the free throw line makes the first.
That's a shooting foul either way, but everything will be shooting two the rest of the way now for the Cyclones.
So ups it back to 15. And the second one's good as well, 61-45. Pullen works it over to Lambert. Lambert, a bounce out. Over to Hageman. Hageman out to Walters. Deep three, no good. And the long rebound, Hageman
That's
tipped
over and
it.
back.
Yep, I was going to say that.
It doesn't matter who called it. It's the right call.
Yep. And they'll bring it in here a minute and a half. The fans just expressing some displeasure.
Yeah, it was touched over by Knoxville. They actually tipped it over. Trying to tip it away is what they were trying to do. It just was not in the right spot for the tip to be legal in this case.
Yep. And Clark with it now, holding it on the far side out to Olson. Olson over to DeCounter. And Eli DeCounter comes out to Whitman. Whitman down to Clark as they work us down close to a minute. A bounce and over to Olson, up to DeCounter. DeCounter gets away from trouble. And they bring in Lane, get it to him, going to the basket and good.
Nice give and go there by DeCounter and a good look on the way back the other direction.
And that ought to be pretty much a finisher there, 63-45. As they work it out to Pullen. Pullen holding on to it with about 40 seconds left to go here. Steal by Whitman. Matt Whitman in the lane, goes up. Blocked by Pullen. Nice job, but Copeland there dumps to DeCounter and puts it in and good. Lead back up to 20 here.
Copeland's going to pick one up there. Nothing hurt, though.
Little will check in. Caden Little will check in as Olson out. The Cyclones. Cam Melvin's going to come in here in just a moment.
Caden Little, a senior.
Yes, he is, the lone senior.
So get him some playing time in his last home game of his career here.
And Jason Faust will come in. I'm not sure if he made any kind of a bargain to come in, but he is in nonetheless. Now that one's a deep dive if you think about that one. As Pullen drops three. I've said that to Jason many times, or said that about Jason.
Got some subs coming in for the Cyclones with 18.6 seconds left. Faust came out as quick as he went in.
Yep.
Hey, Faust, you need to stay out there. Yeah, took Copeland off the floor, and Faust went off too. They only going to have 4 players out there.
Dalen McCartney, Max French, and Caden Little on there with Cam Melvin and Jason Faust. Into Melvin. And we'll catch some of the others in there. It looks like Carter Johnson, Archberger in there as they try to get into French and wheels it out. Well, and you weren't here for Caden Little's senior day. He fouled out about late in the third quarter. After picking up 4 in the first half, he made use of his fouls.
Hey, that was Kenny Suter here that night.
No, I was here. That was
because
Saturday.
that would have been a perfect day for Kenny, because that's what Kenny's goal was, is to get. He couldn't score. He always says he couldn't score, so he just wanted to foul out. He had 5 fouls and he was going to use them.
Every single one. Well, big fella, thanks for coming down. Thanks for doing this. We had a lot of fun, which you and I always do, because we don't get many chances to work together, but it is always fun when we do.
Yeah, don't take it very seriously either, it seems like.
No, we don't. We never take ourselves. The day I take myself seriously, the day I probably hang the thing on my head up, the headset.
He's talking about a headset, folks. But
yep.
He hung his hair up a long time ago.
Yeah, the hair went a long time ago. But Dwayne, always good work. Good luck in the regionals, and I know you've got a lot of folks tuning in. We've had some really good nights here, and this kind of wraps up at least the home portion of our West Prairie coverage really for the year until baseball, softball, but the indoor stuff wraps all that up here. So thanks to everybody that's made comments, that has been here with us all season long. It's been a lot of fun. Always happy to come out here, have a little fun, do a few things, get a little loud when I do the intros, and it's all for the kids. That's the big thing.
I was feeling some disco music coming on right there. I thought you were just going to start rolling into "Get Down Tonight."
They don't want to hear that. That would get us kicked off the internet.
Probably so.
Would violate some FCC policy.
Probably so. Well, Greg, thank you very much for another year of doing all this and helping out, and doing all these games, and I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully we can get you to do some more again next year.
Well, that's the plan. We'll see what the schedule allows, and we'll be back in the fall here. Glad to alongside you. Again, good luck in the region. Always fun. Thank you for what you do, Dwayne. There's a lot of schools around here that appreciate it. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning us in. Thanks for turning us on.